Shrek, I'm looking down!
Oh, let's have a dance then, shall we?
Hey.
Donkey God!
Don't do that!
Oh, this?
What's up, beautiful people? I'm Zach, and you're watching Zach Makes Movies, the channel where we talk about...
You guessed it, Frank Stallone.
Disney Animation Studios began in the early 1900s with films like Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. Pixar started with Toy Story, but the popular animated film studio we have come to know as DreamWorks started with a movie called Shrek. Shrek stars Mike Myers and Eddie Murphy as the lovable ogre and donkey. The film is made to parody Disney. The gentlemen who were involved in the creation of Shrek actually used to work for Disney Studios and were not thrilled with their experience working there. So they decided to make their own project that was completely making fun of everything Disney. Shrek has always been one of my favorite movies, certainly one of my favorite animated movies. Now the reason we're talking about this today is because Shrek has made it back into the headlines again, some 25 years later, as we now await the arrival of Shrek 5. Originally the role was written for Chris Farley. Chris Farley was meant to play the ogre, and had actually done a lot of his audio work before ultimately tragically dying.
Fartwad gets his princess, I get what I want.
Which is?
I don't have time to set it to music.
Oh, this is another one of those onion things.
No, this is one of those drop it and leave me alone things. Ah! Help! A big, stupid, stinky, smelly, ugly ogre! They judge me before they even know me.
At that point, they had to find a new ogre, and they very smartly went with the great Mike Myers.
Ugh, it's hideous! Oh, that's not very nice. It's just a donkey.
Eddie Murphy is just fantastic in everything. It's impossible not to like him.
'Cause I'm all alone. There's no one here beside me. But you gotta have friends.
Stop singing! Well, it's no wonder you don't have any friends.
One thing that I always liked about their dynamic in the movie, it's very clear that they're at odds, it's very clear that they don't get along and that they're incredibly different, but there's these moments throughout the film, even fairly early on, where you see them kind of sharing a look of recognition that seems to imply that they feel like they're the only normal ones in this weird world that they live in, and everyone else is crazy. But let's go back to the beginning. The opening of Shrek is incredibly memorable and very funny, parodying the kind of storytelling, book-ending way that a lot of these fairy tale movies go into the story by starting with an enchanted book, and there's this classical narration over it that is pushing you and enticing you into the story. Not the case here.
Like that's ever gonna happen. What a load.
And the moment you hear the toilet flush, you know that this is not gonna be like any of these other movies.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna roll me.
The film is co-directed by Andrew Adamson and Vicky Jensen, who did a phenomenal job putting it together and really set the bar for what DreamWorks Studios would become. You know, in many ways this is a cartoon movie for children. So to have the main character immediately vilified, implied to be eating human beings, is an interesting choice.
Well, actually, that would be a giant. Now, ogres, they're much worse.
But it works very well, and the moment of all the villagers crowding around as Shrek warns them of what he's going to do, grind their bones and make jelly, it's actually quite good on toast.
This is the part where you run away.
Shrek meeting Donkey is just a classic best friends first meeting.
I can talk. I'd love to talk. I'm not talking this damn thing you ever saw.
Shrek is surprised that Donkey isn't scared of him.
I'm an ogre. Doesn't that bother you?
Nope.
Really?
Really.
They arrive at Shrek's humble home, where Donkey accidentally insults him before covering his tracks.
Who'd want to live in a place like that?
That would be my home.
I like that boulder.
That's a nice boulder. Shrek clearly is not looking for a new friend, even though he needs one. He doesn't want Donkey in his house, so he goes back to his normal nightly ritual, only to find that there are unwelcome visitors in his home.
Oh, no. Dead broad off the table.
Where are we supposed to put it? The bed's taken.
Shrek finding the big bad wolf in his bed is one of the funnier moments.
What?
Just so many funny lines. I love the moment Shrek goes outside. He's basically telling everyone to get the hell off of his property, and they take it as this rousing speech. He is their new champion, and he is going to defend them from Lord Farquaad. By the way, going back to the idea that the creators of Shrek were making fun of Disney, Lord Farquaad, as a name, was decided upon because it sounds like a particular insult that they like to call their former boss at Disney. And Lord Farquaad, of course, played by the great John Lithgow, who we've talked about recently on the channel, one of my favorite actors, who does an incredible job, even in animation, and is particularly adept at playing villain roles.
Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice I am willing to make.
Also starring in the movie is Cameron Diaz as Princess Fiona, who is a capable and badass princess going against the damsel in distress trope that we've seen for 100 years. But the bigger twist, of course, comes a little bit later.
Well, that's it right there. That's Dulac. I told you I'd find it.
Do you think maybe he's compensating for something?
Shrek and Donkey go and meet Lord Farquaad thinks this is the perfect opportunity for him to get rid of the ogre, so he has his men attack, and that's when we get this perfect scene.
Can't we just settle this over a pint? No. Come on!
Joan Jett's bad reputation just perfectly sets the scene. It really is one of those songs that just feels like it was made for this movie in this moment. Shrek starting to pull a heel turn, get everyone excited. The lady that tells him to give him the chair. So many funny moments in there, a lot of WWE moments. That whole scene is really fun. And then Farquaad deciding that he's going to reward Shrek with this quest.
All right, Ogre, I'll make you a deal. Go on this quest for me, and I'll give you your swamp back.
So Shrek and Donkey go off on a whirlwind adventure to go rescue Princess Fiona from a fire-breathing dragon.
So where is this fire-breathing pain in the neck anyway?
Inside, waiting for us to rescue her.
Now they arrive and find a rickety bridge over a lake of boiling lava. Luckily, Shrek is very understanding of Donkey's fear. He's a layered guy. He has layers, much like a cake or a parfait.
Ogres are like onions.
They stink?
Yes. No, layers. Onions have layers. Ogres are like onions. End of story. Bye-bye. See you later.
They make it across the bridge.
Stop doing it! I'm doing it!
God, I'm gonna die!
That'll do, Donkey. That'll do.
And decide Shrek's going for the dragon, Donkey's going for the princess.
Take drastic steps. Kick to the curb. Don't mess with me. I'm the stair master. I've mastered the stairs.
But in another nice little twist of fate,
At least we know where the princess is. But where's the
Dragon!
Donkey, look out!
and that's when Donkey meets his bride-to-be, Dragon. Of course you're a girl, Dragon! The scene with Dragon blowing smoke rings around Donkey is very funny.
What's the matter with you? You got something in your eye? Yeah, I'm an asthmatic, and I don't know if it'll work out. You're gonna be blowing smoke rings and stuff. Shrek!
Just again, like twist after twist, they did such a good job with this script of keeping things fresh and interesting. Every single moment in this script that seems like it's gonna go a very obvious direction, it never does. And it doesn't ruin the stakes either, because for the sake of comedy and parody, the idea of a dragon being in love with this donkey is no less horrifying to him than the idea of the dragon wanting to eat him. Just a very funny movie all the way throughout, and I love the animation style. You know, people have been complaining lately about the new animation of Shrek 5, and, you know, it is what it is. I'll at least wait until I see a full trailer before I dogpile on that. But, yeah, it does look a little different. People talk about how, yeah, it's been 25 years. Of course they're going to change the animation style from the original movie. If you look at the original Shrek, it does seem a little bit outdated. It's a totally different form of 3D animation. However, I love the animation of the movie. I've been a big fan of it ever since I saw it in 2001. But we'll see. Again, we'll see what happens. I don't really care. I'm in my 30s. So anyway, they rescue the princess. You have this great moment where Shrek slowly creeps up on Fiona, who is pretending to be asleep, holding the rose over her chest and preparing herself for her first kiss, when instead Shrek violently shakes her awake and drags her out of the castle. She discovers that her rescuer did not slay the dragon, and then Shrek says this line, which I've always enjoyed.
Wait, where are you going? The exit's over there.
Well, I have to save my ass.
Then they go rescue Donkey, and they get the hell out of there.
Ah, princess!
It talks.
Yeah, it's getting them to shut up, that's the trick!
Now, even though things didn't go quite as she had hoped, Princess Fiona is gracious enough to thank her rescuer, until she finds out he is an ogre. Now Shrek is sad once again, people disappointed that he's an ogre. That's the story of his life, so it's a real bummer, even though he tries to pretend it doesn't hurt his feelings. Now there's a little bit of bickering, Princess Fiona's upset, and Shrek makes it clear that he is on a mission, because he's no messenger boy.
I'm a delivery boy.
You wouldn't dare.
Nevertheless, they continue their journey through the dark forest, and things seem to be going well. Fiona turns out to be a little bit cooler than they had expected of her, and ultimately we get this fantastic parody of Robin Hood and the Men in Tights.
Hey! Princess! Please, monster! Can't you see I'm a little busy? Oh, merry man!
For some reason, they're breakdancing. I mean, everything in the 2000s was trying to jump on hip-hop culture as much as possible, so...
Man, that was annoying.
Yeah, that whole scene's very funny. Shrek getting an arrow in the ass. Blue flower, red thorns. Which would be a lot easier to find if he wasn't colorblind. But ultimately, he happens to find the exact right flowers, comes back, and finds a tender moment between Shrek and Fiona, who seem to be warming up to each other. Now, of course, this is ruined. That night, Fiona demands that they stay somewhere overnight. Donkey goes to check on Fiona. Shrek decides that he's going to profess his love to her. And Fiona reveals her secret.
When I was a little girl, a witch cast a spell on me. Every night I become this.
She, in fact, is also an ogre. So she's upset. Shrek's upset, there's miscommunication, that always happens in movies, happens in real life too. And then Shrek goes and gets Farquaad and his men to come and pick her up. And then we get some more funny short jokes, and Shrek goes off on his own once again. But Donkey is ready to stand up for himself, because Donkey too has layers. No, not really. Donkeys wear their emotions on their sleeves. Princess Fiona is preparing to marry Lord Farquaad.
Fiona, my love, we're but a kiss away from our happily ever after. Now kiss me!
So Shrek now wants to go and stop the wedding, and how are they going to do that without a ride? And Shrek figures out that he needs to object to the ceremony before it's too late.
What do you see?
The whole town's in there.
They're at the altar. For the love of Pete!
And running inside for another classic wedding-stopping cinema moment. So that another great moment. You get this beautiful moment between Shrek and Fiona. She decides she's going to give up what she's been wanting all this time for him. Farquaad orders them both killed, and takes the crown for himself, deciding he is now king.
I will have order! I will have... Celebrity marriages, they never last, do they?
The dragon arrives, eats Farquaad, and the couple lives happily ever after. Really fun movie. It holds up incredibly well, and it's very funny. Everything that was funny in 2001 in that movie is still funny today, and I think the same can be said about the incredible sequel Shrek 2, which we will talk about at some point, but these movies deserve their own videos. So, Mike Myers, absolute genius. Eddie Murphy, untoppable voice in comedy. And then, yeah, just all the side characters. Pinocchio is hilarious.
God bless us, everyone.
In the beginning of the movie, you see the three bears as a family, and then later in the movie, you see Mom Bear as a rug. So a lot of funny stuff like that, and it's just perfectly paced. It's one of those movies that it goes by so fast. Even just like kind of walking through the entire movie, it's so well structured that it's very easy to remember beat by beat everything that happens from beginning to end, which is how you know you have a great script. I've loved this movie for a long time. It's one of the first movies I really remember seeing. I saw it on a bus when it came out in 2001 and just blew me away. All Star by Smash Mouth quickly became my favorite song. The soundtrack is great. Harry Gregson Williams, who does the score of the movie, does a phenomenal job. I love the music. Look at other parody films and parody film series. Things like Naked Gun, Scary Movie. You know, there are successful franchises of parody films, but none that work this well on their own, to the point that you don't even remember that they were parodies to begin with. It's original enough material that it became its own thing, irrespective of the fact that it was making fun of Disney and all of these old fairy tales from 100 years ago. This has always been one of my favorites. I'm a huge Mike Myers fan, as you guys know. You can go ahead and check out my Austin Powers video next if you want to see a little bit more of that guy. And as far as Eddie Murphy goes, I have a video on Coming to America, and I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more Eddie Murphy movies in the future. So stay tuned, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Let's do that again!
No!